Hello,
Come on,
what?
Coxie. Let's get this over with.
Okay, this one isn't as good as the last time we recorded.
Uh,
What kind of mushroom? Oh no, I've gone into the
a
end of the joke
mushroom.
at the beginning.
Yes, I got it right.
Oh, hang on. Now I have to find another one.
What
Why
was
did the boy throw his clock out the window?
I don't know.
Because he wanted to see time fly.
Boom, boom. I want to know what the mushroom one was.
Oh, what kind of room doesn't have doors? I let myself down big time.
Actually, there's a good segue there, Coxie, because I reckon you're going to feel like a bit of a mushroom today.
I think I will feel very much like a mushroom. But maybe this will raise my cool mum status just kind of a little bit.
You can tell all the young people you know that you chatted with Mike Ross.
Yes, I can. Except they're going to think of a different Mike Ross.
Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure, mate. Well, it's my pleasure. Coxie doesn't know what we're even talking about today.
I don't know.
She'll pick it up.
Yeah. We're talking about electrician salaries and mountain bikes.
There you
go. Mike, you recently won a Crankworx gold medal, which now I know what that means because I'm a mountain bike tragic. And
I can have a punt to this one.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't a bike have a crank?
Yeah.
There you go. Hello. I know about biking.
It does. Well done, Coxie. I'm gonna make Nicole watch one of the Crankworx events so she knows.
For sure.
Actually, you should have watched this, Coxie, because Mike does some mad stuff on a push bike. Absolutely mad stuff.
I'd just have a heart. I'd put my mum hat on and be worried about you hurting yourself, Mike.
It looks like we're just throwing ourselves around, but I think once you see it and you see how calculated we really are, it's not too bad. And I think my mum would be one to back that up. Like, she trusts my riding and the way I think about stuff. And so I think once you sort of figure it out and know that we're not actually just going for broke, then well, there's a bit of crazy still in there, don't worry about that. But it's a lot more calculated than what it just looks like on TV, that's for sure.
I'm pleased to hear it. Somebody needs to work about this, and if you don't out yourself, I'm going to.
I'd leave that for later. So, Mike, tell our listeners, give us a bit of backstory, mate, because our listeners love to know about the people that we have on the show. And normally we talk to people about, tax strategies and SEO and cash flow and all that sort of exciting stuff. And I'm just stoked that we get to talk about something that I'm actually passionate about, which is mountain bikes. But give our listeners a bit of backstory, mate, so they know who we're chatting with today.
I guess I'll just start from when I finished school. So I did my year 12 and just went straight into my trade of electrical trade, basically. And the reason for just going straight into work is so that I could have money to fund my riding and my riding career. And it's taken 10 years of hard work and heaps of Saturdays and Sundays and all that overtime, and to get to the point where I'm at now, and where just recently this year I've been able to quit my job, and all my sponsors have seen my potential and have come on board to sort of help me out. I've finally living that young boy's dream of not working and riding to live, basically. It's been an amazing journey.
Pretty incredible.
It's the epitome of the lifetime to become an overnight success.
Yeah, isn't it?
Thing that people talk about, because I think you've recently turned 30, mate, or you're there or thereabouts, Mike?
Yeah, last year,
Yep. So, 10 years to get to this stage. And you were riding, when did you actually start this passion for bikes? When did that start for you?
I probably started before I even knew. So my mum and dad are also in the trade industry, and they have their own businesses and stuff like that as well. And I used to get dropped off to a friend of ours, and I used to ride my little plastic tricycle like down some stairs. Like
You were one of those kids.
Yeah, like 2, 3 years old. Like I just crash down these stairs, pick it up, walk back, and then just do it again. Like, so I think I've always had a passion for bike riding, but yeah, I've done it pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, wow. That's a long time to stick at one thing.
Yeah, well, it's what I love most in this world, basically. And yeah, that's why I'm still doing it. I just have a ball doing it, and yeah, it gives me life.
So how on earth do you balance that with electrical? Like they're worlds apart in my mind, at least.
Yeah, it's since stopping working and riding at this level and doing the amount of training that I'm doing now, I don't know how I did it before. Like I have no idea how I fit in 40 plus hours a week plus another 40 plus hours a week of riding and training on top of that. Like it's kind of insane, but I see it in a lot of my mates. They're sort of young, going through their apprenticeships and stuff too, and they're like, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. I'm like, yeah, it sucks, like it's the worst, but like you gotta want it, like and I think it comes down to how much you're willing to do. Like I put my whole life savings and all of my long service and everything I had into last year so that I could get overseas and live basically the life that I want to live. And I was lucky, well, not lucky, but I worked hard enough that I was able to get some really nice positive results. And from there, this year, I've been able to, transfer that sacrifice into, living what I think any young person would love to do.
Hey, it's not just the young people that dream about it, mate. I'd love to be a professional mountain bike rider.
Yeah. I shouldn't say everybody's dream, really. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Do what you love. Mike, how come last year was the year? Like, what made that the pinnacle time for you to throw it all in and give it a crack? Yeah,
well, the year before was the COVID years, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And that was very challenging for a lot of people, especially myself, who always traveled overseas constantly for competitions and stuff. So it was the first year that I was able to get back to these events that I was starting to do before that. But it was also the year that my long service became available. So I had that nice chunk of money, like boosting my my savings that I had already, that gave me the opportunity to have that much time off and to get it done, really.
Cool. I imagine it must take actually feels like a really dumb thing to say, and it's true. I think it deserves pointing out the amount of discipline that it would take to complete your apprenticeship and be training 40 odd hours a week so that you can create this result is quite sensational. Is that something that you have always had, or something your parents instilled in you, or how did that happen for you?
I think it just comes from within, really. It comes from a real pure place within me. Like I have failed so much at riding and had all these crashes and lost all these competitions and sacrificed so much in my life, but it's what brings me joy. So I never really saw it as a sacrifice, apart from like going to work, and then once I finish work, then I get to go ride. So it wasn't really it wasn't really like a conscious decision. It was just something that, cool, now I've finished the work for the day, now I get to go ride. Hell yeah, that's sick.
It's incredible to me to think about how exhausted you must have been.
Yeah.
Ride. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it was tough. It was, I definitely wouldn't say it was easy. It is hard. Yep. And I think the reason why you keep going is because I love it so much, basically. Yeah.
Mike, have you been with the same? I assume you're employed. Talking about long service. I don't know any small business owners that pay themselves long service leave. But were you with the same employer for that whole time?
I was for the last 6 years. I was with a local electrical company, and then for the 4 or so years before that, I was with my old man's company.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
How like were they supportive of your time? Because it must, as an employer ourselves here, and working with small business owners, there surely must have been some concern from them about the risks to you. You come off your bike and you can't work, and they're down an employee, and all the stuff that goes along with that. Like, were there concerns there, and how did you manage that with your employer?
It was really quite an organic relationship between the two. So we used to subcontract to the company that I ended up working for. So we already knew everybody within. So it was like quite an easy transition, and they already knew what I did outside of working.
Got it.
So as soon as I came over, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks into starting, I needed to have a week off to go ride a show at the Formula One. And they were like, "Yeah, sweet as, all right, we'll see you in a week." Like, I can't praise them enough about how supportive they were with my riding and stuff like that. I think it's really unique, and it says a lot to the just the company in general and how they are with their employees, and just the respect that goes both ways. Like, it's always, we work with you. You don't work for us. We work with you. Like, it was just a really nice, comfortable place to work, for sure.
Love it.
It's like gold standard for how to treat employees and keep them.
Oh, exactly right. Yeah.
So, Mike, are you a better electrician or a better mountain bike rider? Which one is your strong point?
I always said, like, if I put as much effort into working as I did riding, I'd run the show. Like, yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back.
Well, you got something to, pardon the pun, you got something to fall back on. If the bike doesn't work out, mate. Yeah.
And like, when I left, they said, as soon as you're ready to come back, like, we'll have you back. So
that's
really
fantastic.
It's good.
Really encouraging.
Right? Yeah.
Mike, I imagine your parents would have had to have given you a lot of support over the years as well, particularly if you were doing a lot of travel. What did that look like for them? Is this something you were doing since you were a teen, or just since you were an adult and left home?
Yeah. So I pretty much started traveling when I was like 17, 18. Just going to New Zealand and America, stuff like that. And they were always supportive. Like, they wanted to come with because that's what they enjoy as well. So they always came, and they picked up the hire cars and drove us around. And they're coming up to Cairns next week to hang out for a week and a bit and watch. And I think they really enjoy it as well. So it's a nice family thing. So that was always supportive. Like, not once did they say, "No, you probably shouldn't do that." They were always, let's figure it out. Let's make it happen.
Being surrounded by some good people, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I definitely know how lucky I am. That's for sure.
Mike, I used to be a motorcycle tragic as well, and followed MotoGP, and I followed Casey Stoner's story like so many Australians, over the last 20 years, I guess. And something that stuck out for me with his story and reading his book and everything was that family support and the sacrifices that family had to make.
Yeah.
Particularly for an Australian sports person, an Australian athlete, to compete on the world stage. Do you feel like Aussies are at a disadvantage, I guess? And is mountain biking a similar sort of thing? Like, is it hard because they're minority sports? They're not backed by the government. They don't get massive TV airtime. Like, how have you guys found that?
Yeah, we are at a huge disadvantage, especially when it comes to athletes being paid and 2, the facilities we need to ride at the level that we need to ride at. And so, for example, Australia as an industry, the size of California, just California in America, in the mountain bike industry. So we're this huge continent with not that many people, to be perfectly honest, and that just cascades down through all the levels. So I'm lucky enough to be getting some support from some really good people, and I'm so grateful for that. And recently we started a GoFundMe to just to help me finish this year, like get me through to the end of the season. And yeah, it's kind of restored my faith in humanity with all the people that have donated. It's like I'm not one to ask for help. Like I normally just soldier on and get it done and make it happen. But yeah, I'm super grateful for that. But the second one is the facilities that we have to ride. So every facility that I've needed to ride, so the big ramps, airbags and stuff like that, we've had to build ourselves. So not only are we funding ourselves, we're also building the facility ourselves, which with the way things are going, it could change. And I've no doubt it will. It's just Australia's just 10 years behind everyone else.
Makes it hard to compete on an international level, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So I guess a footy player would have to go and build his own oval and mow the grass and paint some lines on there, and then
put the sticks
and then at the end of the week he's got to go play the game on top of that. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of a bit of an example on what we have to do. So last week I spent probably 20 hours in an excavator digging our new spot and getting that ready.
Wow. Mike, competing internationally, that's very expensive as well. It takes a lot of time. And I dare say, are you able to arrive early so that you can prepare with those tracks? So you understand, is tracks even the right word? Sorry if it's not.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you're able to prepare for the track, so because the little bit I've seen is it looks to me as an uninitiated person, there's a lot of the unknown on the track. And so you'd want to have spent some time getting familiar with the track before you get to ride. Is that something that happens, or is it blind the way that it looks?
Yeah, so normally you get a few hours of practice beforehand. The speed and style, what I won gold in Rotorua, we had about 3-4-ish hours of practice before the event started. So it's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of time.
Nothing.
But yeah, I guess that's when the practice at home pays off.
Yeah.
You turn up ready to go and you tick your goals off and hope for the best.
It's exhausting too. Like you're doing 3 to 4 hours of prep. If I take it back to football players, I've got 3 football players. They show up maybe 2 hours before the game, and a lot of it's like the mental stuff that they're doing with coaches and coaching staff. And then it's warming up. Warming up isn't for 2 to 3 hours on racing around a track to make sure I know what it looks like, and then they go out and play. So it's really different. Like they're even well supported in that area in terms of monitoring and managing their energy and their outputs. Whereas I imagine if you've only got 2 to 3 hours, to me that doesn't feel like a lot. You'd be really having to push through on that course so that you can get a good feel and understanding for the course. I'm failing to see where the energy management comes into this for you to have enough downtime before then you have to race and perform to time.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a difficult few hours, and you are literally running on adrenaline the whole time. And the event finishes and you fall over.
Wow. I don't even know how you show up to work after that.
Yeah. Well, I used to go to work to rest, but
at least physically.
Work was easier.
Yeah.
Is this an Olympic sport?
No. So there's cross country, I think, is in the Olympics.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure. And BMX freestyle
Mhm.
was in the Olympics just recently.
Mhm.
So it's a freestyle aspect.
Mhm.
So we have 2 jumps that we jump on, but you're also side by side
Mhm.
with another competitor that's only a meter away, and then you go up these huge ramps and these huge jumps, and you're flipping and spinning right next to each other, landing side by side again, and then having to pedal around another bit of the course, do another jump with more insanity, and then somehow cross the line. But then you got to do that, swap sides. And then
Oh,
you got
wow.
to so you do one on one side, one on the other side, swap sides, same again. And then if you win, you go through, and you do that over and over and over until you get through about 16 people.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really glad as a mum that my kids never found this sport. I don't know if I've got the stamina or my heart would hold out as they're doing some of those things. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's the more I talk to people about it and explain it, the more it's like, wow, that is actually quite a lot of effort for what we do. Yeah.
The intensity levels would be off the charts, I imagine. Like the mental game to be backing up again and again on the same course, the same jumps, against different competitors each time, and particularly for the sloping style, like because it's a race and you've got to throw down
That's
some cool
right.
tricks to get points. So you know, you're not just all out physicality in terms of fitness and being fast.
Mm-hmm.
You've also got to have a good repertoire and be thinking about what's going to pull the points from the judges. So like
That's right.
it's a pretty cool test, I think, of an athlete. How on earth do you train for something like that? Like how do you prepare for that sort of event?
Yeah, I break it down into like 2 separate things. So I do like a lot of just the trick training, which basically is repetition.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we flew up to Brisbane to ride some private facilities that, again, other people have built themselves at their homes to ride. So we currently don't have one running in Canberra at the moment, but so we flew to Brizzy to go ride with our friends who have one up there. And yeah, the past week, I think I did the same trick probably like be close to 50 times, I think. So that's for that side of things. And then for the racing, it's like a lot of pump track, there's one right up my window just here. I just finished stuff at. So pump track, BMX track, we also been doing some like sprint training. So like you go to those cycle classes in the gyms or whatever, which you absolutely flog yourself on. I'm so glad they turn the lights off and you can't see anybody because
can't see the red faces.
oh man, I'm a mess every time. I can barely walk out of there.
So yeah, love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We do bike training at my Pilates studio, and I'd like not to vomit at the end of my
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm with you right there. Yeah.
Horrible. That stuff is nasty. But I can see how necessary it would be for that quick turnaround. You know, you're constantly on for all of that time. Is there a break between the prep time and then the race time?
Yeah. So normally we have like about an hour of practice on the day. So the training's split up between 2 days. So we have about a 3-hour block on one day, and then we get like another hour and a half on actual race day. And then you go through, not only you got to race, but you got to go through qualifying. So that's 2 runs down, tricks, speed, same thing. And then you go through round of 16, 8, 4, 3. And then if you're lucky enough, you go to the gold medal final.
That's incredible.
So yeah, and that's 2 times for each of those as well. So it's
a lot of endurance.
Yeah. It's the first round after training, so you get like about half an hour break for the broadcast to do that. That is the hardest round because you cooled down probably like 40-50%. Then the first time out of the gate, your legs feel so slow.
Yeah.
Like, and then after that, you're just on after that. So it kind of gets easier as you go.
That makes sense. Mike, I presume, given that, sorry, Warwick, that how small the sport is, that most of the people you're racing against are friends.
Yep.
How
Yeah,
does that go?
I think that's mountain biking. So I used to do a lot of freestyle BMX before I started mountain biking. I think the one thing that kept me coming back to mountain biking is the community. And we are all friends. And the biggest difference I can see between mountain biking and any other sport is that we're all friends. We all compete against each other, but we all want each other to do well. And I think there's not many sports in the world where that is the case. Like if you watch a broadcast, I suggest you watch a broadcast, because it's really good to see. You'll see every person that's on the outside of the ring, like watching, was probably riding the same event earlier, not on broadcast. So they were competing against everyone, and you'll see everybody all hugs, all happy, like we're just
Cool.
going into battle, and we made it out the other side, and everyone's happy for everybody. So it's really unique.
I always laugh when I see Nikolai come out and just go absolutely psycho every time someone does a run.
Exactly.
And he just like epitomizes that support for everybody else. And sometimes I wonder, and maybe you can give us the inside running here, Mike. I watch some of those events and I think, you're all pro riders. Is this like reality TV where you're schooled up a bit and it's there's a bit of an expectation that you guys do that, or is that all legit? Is that all authentic?
I honestly don't think that you could fake any of that. Like we're just kids riding bikes, like you know what I mean? Like
good kids, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting paid to ride bikes.
Yeah, we're not there to nobody's there to make $1 million. Like we're there to do our absolute best and have a ball doing it. And I think that just comes across so genuine, and especially Nikolai is very expressive with his with the way that he is. He's just so good for the sport.
I'm excited that we're going to have Coxie Googling Nikolai
and
Crankworx, and she's going to be watching slope style or something. Like, holy moly.
I'm just not going to let any of my boys see this, because I already have broken children. I don't need any more.
You'll be in trouble.
My 12-year-old daughter loves watching the Red Bull channel with me, and particularly the slope style. She's like, oh, can we watch the slope style? And it's like, I'm not doing that stuff with you, kiddo. Mike, your journey sounds like, maybe not a fairy tale, but it's probably pretty close. You've been riding bikes your whole life. It's your passion. You work to fund your riding. It all sounds really like pretty smooth. 10 years, all of a sudden you're an international gold medal winner at Crankworx. Have there been any times where it actually got, proper hard? I mean, it's hard training and it's hard balancing work. That's a bit of a grind, I guess, and that's about consistency and discipline over time. But has there been some proper hard times throughout that, or is it really just a piece of cake?
I think the hardest it's been was when I bought my house. So obviously trying to juggle putting money to go travel and then trying to save for a house, which is excruciating, like especially when I'm so passionate about doing something way more fun
than a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, mortgages are exciting.
But they definitely get your heart going, I'll tell you that. But I think to put a silver lining on what was terrible for a lot of people was the travel restrictions that we had over the past couple of years. The money that I would have put into traveling, I used as a house deposit. So that sort of gives you an idea on how expensive that this sport can be. So I think the year after that was probably the hardest. But just trying to get that money back, knowing that the world is going to open up soon, and I need to have this funding to go and do this again on top of paying off a house. And that was probably the hardest financially, for sure. I think physically and like mentally is overcoming injuries. Really, like that's it's probably one of the hardest things and tough on a lot of people, not just yourself, like your support system and people looking after you and the stress that puts on other people as well. I think takes a huge toll for sure.
This has just opened the door for Coxie to get stuck into
You want to do
me.
it first? Do you want to do it first, or do you want me to do it?
So I'm
Perfect
just gonna,
segue. How good am I?
I'm just going to stand back from the microphone and Nick, just come at me.
I'm not going to be mean because it looked like it really hurt, actually. Warwick had a bit of a spill. So Warwick is I don't know what you call him, a hobby. Hobby? Is that fair?
I'm a social writer. I'm a weekend
Social
hack.
writer.
Yeah,
yes.
perfect.
He might have had a bit of a nasty fall.
I had a hugie.
Sick.
Hugie.
Yeah, overjumped a double, and anyway, new helmet, new front wheel. You know, bit of bark off.
You were very sore. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah, I'm still actually a bit sore from that. It was 3 weeks ago. But it's relevant what you say, Mike, because like for me, I love mountain biking, and I understand your passion for it. I only found the sport a couple of years ago, so I'm only fresh. I rode moto, just social enduro moto for about 10 years before that. Absolutely loved that. But you know, life changed and stuff, and got into mountain biking. I was like, oh, where has this been for the last 15 years?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, if I have spare time and the sun's out, or even if it's not down here in Tassie, but it's a bit cold and boggy, it's like, I want for a ride. This is the first thing I think of. Other than my wife, of course, in case she listens to this episode. But I've been fortunate. You know, I've had some big offs in moto, and I've busted bones and had surgery and stuff. And in 2 odd years on the mountain bike, not really had anything big. And I rode with a mate who's particularly good at sucking everybody else in to ride way harder than their ability. And he's a horrible crasher, super fast. He's very competitive downhiller. And I went riding with him this day, and just, you know, the ambition exceeded the talent. And it wasn't so much for me because I love mountain biking. I'm like, I just get back on the bike. You know, it's like I spend the money, I fix the bike. My wife's amazing. Get a new lid. Can't wait to get back out. But it was the people around me. And so that's what I want to actually dig into a bit with you, Mike, because my wife was justifiably worried. And she works in healthcare as an occupational therapist. So she's seen how bad this can go.
Yeah, it might be worse for you, actually.
I'm pushing it uphill.
Yeah.
And, you know, for my business partner and even my mum and family and friends, it looked pretty impressive. It was probably looking more impressive than the damage that I actually did to myself because my head's pretty hard. But like, what's been some of your big offs, and how has that impacted the people around you?
Yeah, so I've been pretty lucky, really. Like, I haven't had that much touch wood. So I guess it would be like, I broke my wrist last year, but that wasn't too bad. I say it wasn't too bad. I fractured my scaphoid and had to get a pin and stuff and all that put in. Like,
yuck.
Like, my version of not too bad is not really the same as someone else's not too bad. You know what I'm saying?
Someone else breaks their thumb and that's like, oh, that's not too bad. You're like,
I probably wouldn't have even. Sometimes I hop in the shower and I'm like, what the hell? Why does that hurt? And I'm like, oh, it's another graze. You know?
Wait till you're my age, dude.
Every now and then I feel like I'm 30, but yeah, so far so good. But I guess my most life-threatening one, I guess, let's to go with that, would be when I ruptured my spleen. So it was probably 2010. No, 2009. It was like my last year at school, and I ruptured my spleen. Didn't know it at the time, so I just went up this ramp, fell from probably about 9 foot down onto like flat concrete at the skate park. I like split my chin open and like chipped a tooth, but then had this like real gnarly, like the worst stomach ache you've ever had, basically.
I bet.
And we went to hospital. The hospital, they were like, oh no, it's just like bruised kidneys. Sent me home for the weekend. I spent the weekend on the couch. Like, got up, went to the toilet, walked back to the couch, laid back down, passed out.
I bet you did.
Mum obviously was like, this is not right. We went and got our own scans done, CT. And before I was even out of the CT tube thing, they were like on the phone to the hospital. I told Mum, like, chuck him in the car, don't stop for red lights, don't stop for anything, don't stop at the servo, get fuel, just go straight to emergency. They're waiting for you. Like, and my abdomen was like 50% filled with blood. Like, and it was pretty insane time. And it wasn't really until after it was all over that we realized how life-threatening that it really was. And I think without like my mum and my dad, and that, like, mum didn't leave my side the whole time, and obviously dad's holding down the fort at home with my sister and still going to work, and mum was remote working as well. She had a laptop in the hospital, boom, like still working as well. And I think kind of just proves like how hard we work as a family to do whatever it takes to do what we love, basically. And there wasn't any question about me riding again either. Like, as soon as I was able to ride again, they were all for it. There wasn't any doubt in their mind that I was able to do that again.
There you go, Coxie. So you can take a leaf out of Mike's mum's book and just ignore the photos of the blood and everything that I showed you. It's all okay.
I must admit, so as I referenced earlier, I've got 3 boys. They all played a lot of footy, rugby league and rugby. And one of the boys was particularly, still is, full on, just like a bull at a gate at every opportunity. And that has meant he's had 9 broken bones. Not all through playing football, but mostly I think 7 were through football. And I can't remember a time I'd be nervous and it would make me sick to watch him play because I'd be worried that he would break another. But there was never a question of him not playing just the same, because he was passionate about it. So I think I understand where your mum must be coming from. Yep. Yeah, it's horrible to see your kids in pain, and you'll do anything to prevent it. And if they're passionate about it, they really love it, and they're good at it, I don't think you can get in the way.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that a lot of people need to take a step back from their busy lives and just really think about what they enjoy and try and work towards doing that more often. As hard as that is, you probably got to, let's not get takeaway every weekend. Like, let's save that $50 and put that into going to the racetrack. Like, take one thing and move it towards a positive point in your life, and just enjoy living. Like, hell, we ain't gonna live forever, so go for it.
Love it.
Mike, I want to ask just briefly about future, and I'm probably going to sound like an old dad here. It's like, that's all well and good. You're pursuing your passion. You've left your trade. You're investing everything you've got financially and physically into your sport.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for you?
Honestly, I've worked all my life to get to this point, and I am just taking every opportunity I can that falls in front of me. Like, someone like you guys, for example, like, oh, do you want to do a podcast? Yeah, sure. Hell yeah, that'd be sick. Like, get to meet you guys, talk to other people. Like, that is kind of my future at the moment, is whatever falls in front of me, or if I decide to do something else, then I'll pursue that. And with all my might, like, I think that's one thing that I do, is if I want to do something, I do it well and I do it as best I can. Yeah. So what the future holds, let's see how this riding thing goes for this year. And if something pops up, like commentating or working in a bike shop or something that lines up with what I enjoy, basically, then hell yeah, let's do that.
That's cool. Is there, if you were to move overseas, I'm not suggesting that you do, please don't have your mum chase after me. And if you were to move overseas, are there more opportunities after you finish with the sport? Like, is that another area that we really miss out on in Australia?
I think so. I think the Aussie market is definitely missing a lot of that high-end riding and coaching and stuff like that. So I personally want to see like probably one of 1, 2, maybe 4 other Aussies that do this and chase that world tour. And I'd love to see that be like 10, 15. And this facility that we're currently constructing will be for whoever wants to come and ride. And so I want to grow the next, like I want to see Australians be what like the Canadians and the Europeans are basically. And the younger talent that we do have coming up is proof that if they have the right facility and the right direction and the right pathways, and if I can help provide that pathway and provide those facilities and be a part of that journey, then I've seriously done my job. So it's kind of my end goal really, is get more people into it, and
it's incredible, Mike.
More people riding bikes basically.
Love that. We'll get
kids would be lucky to be mentored by you.
We'll get Coxie out on an e-bike sometime soon.
No.
I'll be perfect. You'd love an e.
Body intact.
I'll take her out to Derby with me when she's down in Tassie next.
Down there you going, hell yeah.
Well, Mike, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, not just because I'm a mad mountain biker, but I love to see people giving something their all. And I think, you obviously epitomise that. And you're not the only person doing this. For our listeners, the opportunity to chat to Mike popped up. So I guess a little bit like Mike's philosophy, we jumped on it. Well, I did. And Coxie just come along for the ride. But I think there's a lot in what you've shared about your story for anybody doing anything. It's all about the longer game and making those choices. Coxie talks about choose your hard quite a lot with our clients, our tradie business owners that we work with. And, like you say, giving up takeaway on the weekend, well, maybe that means you can actually fund the next holiday for your family or something, or invest in your business and reap the rewards of that over the next 10 years. So I think there's some fantastic philosophies in there, mate. So thanks heaps for sharing.
Oh, no worries. Thanks heaps for having me on, and nice to meet you guys.
Pleasure, mate. Now,
you too, Mike.
If Nick wants to follow you and
I'm
make
going
sure
to
that she can keep up with all of your escapades, mate, what's the best place for our listeners to stalk you and follow you online?
Yeah, so probably Instagram is probably the best. It's at Mike Ross Rides. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, on all the social pipes. So yeah,
might have
see
to
you on
give
there.
us tips on TikTok.
Oh man, that's tough.
Oh yeah.
You're old for TikTok, man. You're 30.
Yeah.
You're out of it.
Well, I've said before and I'll say again, the fastest growing audience on TikTok are women between 35 and 50. Go figure that one out. Incredible stats coming out of TikTok.
They're all following blokes like Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Wishing away their age, wanting to be young again. Mike, I was worried this would be really hard for me to understand. You've made it easy. I think kids coming up behind you would be really blessed to be mentored by you. I see a big shiny future ahead of you. Thanks so much for sharing some of it with us today.
Oh, thank you. No worries.
Thanks, man.